where we have economists reject NBS GDP report as cost of living worsens. Still on Daily Post newspaper, where we have Nigerians lament as Abuja Kaduna Greek lock leaves travelers stranded ahead of Eid. Still on Daily Post newspaper this morning, where we have Ebola outbreak. Lagos reassures residents activate emergency response measures. Still on Daily Post newspaper this morning, Loma urges residents to embrace waste sorting as a disposal site faces pressure. Yes, still on Daily Post newspaper, talking Idil Kabir. Lagos government ban sales of rams on highway. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers, your daily nugget for news making major headlines in today's newspaper. Beginning from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have this headline, talking Idil Kabir. Federal government declares a West Day and Thursday as public holidays. Now the details. The federal government has declared Wednesday and Thursday, May 27 and May 28, 2026 as public holidays to mark this year's Eid celebration. The declaration was announced by the Minister of Interior, Oluwatobi Okunola, in a statement issued and signed on Monday, May 25, 2026 by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Madeline Ajani. According to the statement, the declaration underscores the federal government's respect for the faith and spiritual heritage of millions of Nigerians, Muslims joining the global Islamic community in observing the sacred festival. Congratulating Muslim faithful across Nigeria and in diaspora, the minister described Eid as a period of deep spiritual significance rooted in spiritual obedience to God and compassion for humanity. He urged Nigerians to use the period to pray for prayers and sober reflection, seeking divine guidance for the country as it continues to pursue peace, security, and prosperity. If that story aligns with your interest, it is on the pages of the Hope newspaper this morning with this headline: Federal government declares Wednesday, Thursday public holidays. Still taking headlines, we have this one coming to you from Oyo State, and it says Oyo school attack, regulate influx of people, monitor Okada riders, NBA urges Makinde. Now the details. The Nigerian Bar Association NBA Ibadan branch on Monday urged Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde to take keen interest in the persistent influx of people into the state following the recent abduction of teachers and students in the Orire local government area last Friday. In a statement released by its chairman Ibrahim Lawal, in Ibadan, the association also called on the state government to regulate the operation of commercial motorcyclists Okada for a stipulated period to verify the operation's identity. The NBA urged both the federal government and the state government to intensify effort to rescue the abducted teachers and students from the 3 different schools in the local government. The Punch reports that scores of teachers and students were abducted during coordinated attacks at the Baptist Nursery and Primary School, Yowota Community Grammar School, and LA Primary School, Esele in Orire local government last Friday around 9:30 a.m. In a statement on Monday, the NBA said the barbarism must not be allowed to take root in an otherwise peaceful environment. We must not allow the latest incidents to add to the growing list of unresolved crime perpetrated against the happenings of people in the country. Government at different levels must act in earnest to confront this menace. The state must rise above characteristics but ineffectual reactions to grave acts of barbarism which assault our sensibility. The NBA stressed the ease with which criminal attack community and escape justice should be a source of grave concern. This is not the time that allows partisan politics to breed complacency, compromise, or sabotage. For details of that story, see the Hope newspaper with this headline: regulate influx of people, monitor Okada riders, NBA urges Makinde. Headlines. Yes, I'm still taking headlines and stories from the Hope newspaper, where we have federal government warns Nigerians against traveling without valid passport and visas. Now the details. The Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) has raised the alarm over a surge of fraudulent migration schemes and irregular cross-border activities orchestrated by individuals and criminal networks across the country. Warning Nigerians that leaving the country without valid travel documents is illegal and carries a grave personal danger. The service in the statement signed by the Public Relations Officer DCI Akinshola Akinlabi on Monday in Abuja said criminal networks have been preying on vulnerable individuals, particularly young women, through deceptive offers of employment, education, and the promise for a better life abroad. Schemes that frequently end in forced labor, human trafficking, and other forms of exploitation. The NIS warned the public to be extremely cautious of unsolicited offers for sponsorship, travel fare, or the so-called help to go abroad from unknown verified sources, a hallmark tactics of trafficking networks. Members of the public were advised to confirm the authenticity of all travel opportunities and recruitment offers through appropriate government channels, steered clear of individual or agent promoting irregular migration, and promptly report a suspicious activity, movement or persons involved in such scheme to the nearest NIS formation or relevant security agencies. The service also called on parents, guardians, and community leaders to stay vigilant and actively educate young people on the risk of irregular migration and trafficking of people. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper. See the Hope newspaper with this headline: Federal government warns Nigerians against traveling without valid passports and visas. Yes, still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Ekiti assures residents of school community safety. Now the details. Ekiti state government and security agencies have assured residents, particularly parents, guardians and teachers, students, that school and communities across the state are safe despite security concerns in some parts of the country. The special advisor to the governor on security matters, Brigadier General Ebenezer Ogundano, retired, said the government remained committed to sustaining peace and strengthening security measures across the state. This was as the State Commissioner of Police, Michael Faladi, and the Director of the Department of State Service Ekiti State Command, Mrs. Unak Obi Bisung, said the state government and security agencies have always taken proactive measures to ensure security of lives and properties. Ogundano and the security chief spoke at a strategic meeting with school administrators in Ado-Ekiti on Monday. The security advisor described Ekiti as one of the safest states in Nigeria and urged residents to support ongoing efforts aimed at preserving the prevailing peaceful atmosphere. Ogundano also cautioned against the spread of unverified information and the rising of false alarm, warning that rumor could create unnecessary panic and disrupt public order. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Ekiti assures residents of school and community safety. Yes, still on the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Abdul Razak meets Army Chief over fresh attack in Kwara. Now the details. Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak has met with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wahida Shahibu, over renewed security threat and attack in parts of the state. The meeting, according to a post shared on the official Facebook page of the Kwara State Government on Monday, focused on strategies to strengthen public safety and address emerging security concerns across the state. It added that the latest meeting was held in a wake of an attack in Ekiti over the last 24 hours in the state. It added that additional police tactical squad had already been deployed to affected areas to neutralize threats and restore residents' confidence. Earlier today, another police tactical squad was deployed in the state to neutralize new threats in the part of the state, the government said. The fresh meeting followed Sunday's deadly attack on a prayer ground at Orioke Ajayi on the outskirts of Ikiron village in Ekiti local government area, where gunmen reportedly killed 3 worshippers and abducted 15 others during a night vigil. The Kwara State Police Command had confirmed that the attack occurred on Saturday night while members of the church were observing prayers at a remote worship center in the Ikiri Abuja axis of the council area. According to police, the incident was reported by Pastor Adebayo Abiodun of Ijo Ajayi Ati Igbala, a Ekeri village, who was leading the vigil while the assailants stormed the venue. The Commissioner of Police said while conducting the night vigil, along members of his congregation at Orioke Ijayi, via Ekeri village, armed hoodlums invaded the prayer ground, firing sporadically. In another movement, earlier on Monday, the police command also confirmed a coordinated midnight attack on the Yashiri Car community in Baturitan local government area by suspected armed bandits. For details of that news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Abdulrazak meets Army Chief over fresh attack in Kwara. We are still taking stories from Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Fubara promises Rivers Secretariat delivery by 2027. Now the details. The Rivers State Governor Simlalai Fubara has declared that the State Secretariat complex, which is undergoing massive reconstruction, would be ready for use by the first quarter of 2027. The governor stated this on Monday after a tour of the multi and expansive high-raised building located in the OGRA axis of Port Harcourt. This was contained in the statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor Onwuka Nzeshi and sent to newsmen. Fubara, who had undertaken a similar tour to the project earlier this year, said he decided to revisit the site to confirm the extent of the job done so far. The governor stated, and I quote, "We just did a tour of the renovation of the Secretariat. I have been seeing outer part of it wearing a new look, but I wanted to really confirm how much work is going on. Most importantly, the inside, and that is what I just went to inspect myself." For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Fubara promises Rivers Secretariat delivery by 2027. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Customs seeks stronger collaboration with media. Now the details. The Nigerian Customs Service has called on stronger collaboration with the media to promote public awareness, broader security, and national development. The National Public Relations Officer of the NCS DCC, Abdullahi Mawada, made the call at the media rally held in Kano and Jigawa Area Command Headquarters in Kano on Monday. The event themed building synergy between the media and custom for enhanced stakeholders awareness and national development, was part of renewed effort by the service to deepen collaboration between the media and the service for accurate and credible information dissemination. Mawada appreciated media practitioners for their continued support and commitment to the service, noting that the media serves as a crucial bridge between the public and the service. He said that the media remains the most important partner in national development through public sensitization and awareness creation, adding that the team reflected the evolving nature of modern custom operations. According to him, the service had intensified effort in information technology and technology-driven operations to improve efficiency and service delivery, and stressed that the need for accurate dissemination of information to the public. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Custom seeks collaboration with media. Yes, still taking headlines from the Punch, where we have court stops Adeleke from removing Osun monarch. Now the details. The Court of Appeal sitting in Akure, Ondo State on Monday restrained the Osun. The Court of Appeal sitting in Akure, Ondo State on Monday restrained the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke from removing the Akirun of Ikirun, Oba Olalekan Akadiri. The Punch earlier reported that the Osun State government declared the stool of the Akirin of Ikirun vacant and called on all parties to await the determination of a suit on the stool currently pending before the Court of Appeal. The statement by the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, said the government's decision on the stool was contained in 6 white papers on various committees that investigated issues raised from the executive order issued by the government at the inspection of its administration in November 2022. The court presided by Justice S.O. Unwaka Gabi barred the governor and others from taking any step in respect of the Akirun of Ikirun chieftaincy pending the determination of the appeal before the court. In a motion on notice filed by his counsel N.O. Oke SAN, Oba Akadiri drew the attention of the court to a letter written by the Asa of Ikirun and chairman of the kingmakers of the town, Chief Karim Adetoyeshi, stating that he was acting on the directive of the governor to call on the Boleru ruling house to present candidate for the stool. The monarch also drew the court attention to the Osun State government white paper, which ordered that all issues on the Akirun of Ikirun chieftaincy crisis be put on hold pending the determination of the subsisting appeal by at the Apatel Court. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Court stops Adeleke from removing Osun monarch. Yes, still on the Punch newspaper, talking Salah. Kano approves 20,000 naira ED package for civil servant. Now the details. Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State has approved 20,000 naira ED Kabil goodwill package for civil servants in the state and across the 44 local government area. The approval is announced in a statement issued by the issued on Tuesday in Kano by Musa Tanko Mohammed, press secretary to the office of the secretary to the state. According to a statement, the gesture is aimed at supporting workers ahead of the Eid Kabir celebration. The news agency of Nigeria reports that generosity comes shortly after payment of May salaries to state and local government workers. The statement added that the intervention would cover civil servants on grade 1 to 14 in state ministries, departments, agencies, and local government council across Kano. It quoted Governor Yusuf as saying that the initiative reflected his administration's commitment to the welfare and well-being of workers, whom he described as the backbone of public service in the state. He explained that the decision was informed by current economic realities and financial demands associated with festive period. For details of that story, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Kano approves 20,000 ED package for civil servants. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers, your daily drive for news making major headlines in today's newspaper. Yes, on the Daily Post newspaper this morning, where we have a talk on Ebola outbreak. Lagos reassures residents activate emergency response measures. Now the details. The Lagos state government has assured residents that there is no immediate threat from the ongoing Ebola outbreak in parts of the Central and East Africa, stating that its emergency response and disease surveillance system remains fully active and ready to respond to any potential health risk. The reassurance was conveyed by the Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, in a statement issued by the Lagos State government after Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu directed relevant agencies to strengthen surveillance and emergency response measures over the evolving outbreak. According to the commissioner, the outbreak had so far resulted in about 177 deaths from nearly 700 suspected cases and is currently limited to Congo and Uganda. He noted that the World Health Organization (WHO) has classified the outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern, largely due to the difficult terrain in the affected countries, which may hamper local and international response efforts. Abayomi, speaking on behalf of the Lagos State Ministry of Health, said no suspected or confirmed case of Ebola virus disease has been detected in Lagos. For details of that story, see Daily Post newspaper with this headline: Lagos reassures residents activate emergency response measures. We are still on Daily Post newspaper this morning, where we have Nigerians lament as Abuja Kaduna gridlock leaves travelers stranded ahead of Eid. Now the details. thousands of travelers heading to northern Nigeria for the Eid Kabir celebration have remained stranded for hours along the Abuja-Kaduna highway following several gridlocks that has persisted since Monday. The congestion, which affected both private and commercial vehicles, was blamed on the increased festive traffic, ongoing road construction, and heavy rainfall along the corridors. Many commuters narrated harrowing experience as journey that normally take less than 3 hours stretch into an all-day ordeal. For details of that story, see the Post newspaper with this headline: Nigerian lament as Abuja-Kaduna gridlock leaves travelers stranded ahead of Eid. Away from Daily Post and now to the Nation's newspaper, where we have INEC timetable judgment sparks fresh realignment talks. Now the details. The Federal High Court judgment nullifying aspect of INEC's 2027 election timetable has reopened the doors for defection, fresh alliance, and late candidate substitution. The ruling held that INEC cannot shorten statutory timetable in the Electoral Act. Analysts say that parties may now reopen membership register as politicians seek alternative platform unless INEC appeal and obtain a stay of execution. The judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja nullifies aspects of the Independent National Electoral Commission revised timetable and scheduled of activity for the 2027 general election may prove to be one of the most politically consequential electoral verdict ahead of the next election cycle. Beyond the legal implication, the decision has the potential to reshape parties' calculation, reopen doors of defection and coalition negotiation, and alter the balance between INEC administrative power and statutory rights guaranteed under the Electoral Act 2026. For details of that story, see the Nation's newspaper with this headline: INEC timetable judgment sparks fresh realignment talks. Still taking headlines from the Nations, where we have a talk on education. JAMB schedules a UTME mop-up for June 13. Now the details. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has fixed June 13 for the conduct of its Unified Tertiary Matriculation Exam UTME mop-up examination for candidates who were unable to sit for the examination. The board said the examination is for those who presented themselves and were biometrically verified for the 2026 UTME, but were unable to sit for the examination for one reason or the other. JAMB made this known in a statement by its public communication advisor Fabian Benjamin in Abuja yesterday. The statement reads, and I quote, "The 2026 UTME was conducted from 16 to 23rd April. However, some centers experienced technical challenges which made it impossible for many candidates to sit for the examination. In addition, some results were subsequently withdrawn over examination infractions, while some candidates who presented themselves for the examination could not be verified biometrically. All such candidates have been listed for the mop-up examination." The mop-up examination represents the final phase of the annual UTME and serves as an opportunity to address all outstanding examination challenges involving candidates who duly presented themselves but encountered difficulty in taking the examination. Candidates in this category are advised to begin printing their examination notification slip from Saturday 6th June 2026. For details of that story, see the Nation's newspaper with this headline: JAMB schedules at UTME mop-up for June 13. Yes, so glad to have you back. The program is still in the papers, your trusted guide for news and making major headlines in today's newspaper. Yes, coming to you from the Guardian newspaper this morning, where we have opposition says Tinubu 10.9 million vote claim does not reflect political realities. Now the details. The African Democratic Congress ADC has raised the alarm that President Bola Tinubu's claim for over the 10.99 million vote during the just concluded presidential primaries of the All Progressive Congress APC is a direct plot to ring the 2027 general elections and must be resisted. It promised to demonstrate a genuine commitment to transparent, inclusive and democratic principle in the selection of the presidential candidate. Similarly, former vice president and presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress ADC, Atiku Abubakar, has dismissed claims that Tinubu secures 10 million votes during the APC primaries, describing the figure as a fabricated numbers with no political significance to the ADC. The ADC also condemned Tinubu's recent attack on opposition as well as self-serving and deeply recent attack on opposition as self-serving and deeply insensitive. While delivering his accepted speech at the APC presidential candidate in the next year's election, Tinubu declared that opposition leader would only take the country backward because they lack an alternative vision. In a statement signed by the National Publicity Secretary, Balaji Abdullahi, ADC asserted that it was a ground irony that such a statement was coming from the president, whose tenure would be remembered as one of the worst period in Nigeria's democratic history. For details of that story, see the Guardian newspaper with this headline. Opposition says that Tinubu's 10.9 billion vote claim does not reflect political reality. Yes, still on the newspaper this morning, and this coming to you from the Sun newspaper, talking Children's Day 2026. Tinubu harps on inclusion, protection of Nigerian children. Now the details. President Bola Tinubu has urged government at all levels, families and communities to move beyond symbolic gesture and build a culture where children are not only seen but genuinely heard, as they declare firmly that your opinion matters, your ideal matters, your well-being matters at the 2026 National Children's Day celebration at Eagle Squad. Delivering a message through the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Imam Suleiman Ibrahim, President Bola Tinubu said the statement was not just a slogan but a core principle for the national democratic renewal. He told the children from primary, junior and secondary school that gathered at Eagle Squad that their thoughts, concern and aspiration are central to shaping the future of Nigeria. The president anchored the message on the 2026 theme, Future Now, promoting inclusion for every Nigerian, explaining that inclusion must be the moral foundation of national development. He stressed that no child, whether in urban centers or remote communities, whether physically challenged or social vulnerable, should feel invisible, excluded or forgotten. In practical terms, the president linked the physiology to the administration's social investments framework under the Renewed Hope agenda. He pointed that the Renewed Hope Social Impact Intervention MM774 Nutrition 774 ANRIN 2.0 and the Nigerian Education Loan Fund as proof that children's voices are being translated into policy and budgetary choices. For details of that story, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: Tinubu harps on inclusion, protection of Nigerian children. Yes, lastly, from the Sun newspaper, talking security risk. Presidency urges temporary suspension of Orioke prayers in Kwara and Kogi State. Now the details. The presidency has appealed to residents and religious groups in Kwara and Kogi State to temporarily suspend Orioke prayer meetings because of the rising security concern. In a statement by the Office of a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement for the North Central, signed by Abiodun Estin, urged worshippers to avoid holding prayers on mountains and in forest. It noted that those locations have increasingly become hideouts for bandits and criminal elements. The presidency called on citizens to support and cooperate with security agencies working to sustain peace and protect lives across the northern central region. The office stressed that the suspension is a precautionary measure aimed at protecting lives and allowing security forces to restore safe conditions in affected areas. It also advised faith leaders to consider alternative, safer venue for communal worship and keep congregation informed of safety updates from local authorities. It thanked the residents for their understanding and reiterated the need for collective vigilance. He said, and I quote, "Please support the security personnel with timely information and avoid places that could be exploited by criminals. Together, we can maintain peace and protect our communities." For details of that story, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: Presidency urges temporary suspension of Orioke prayers in Kwara and Kogi State. Yes, and that is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of In the Papers. We're saying thank you for staying with us as we've explored major headlines and stories shaping our world today. Remember, staying informed is the first step to making informed decision. Do join us again for another episode of In the Papers tomorrow 9 a.m. I am Florence Ibarama, and this is me wishing us a productive and pleasant day ahead. Ensure to stay safe, stay informed, and keep making a difference. Good morning.